Tonight on the Vince Dao Show, we will be doing mainly a Q&A stream because it is the last stream of the week. I want to have fun, interact with you guys, so stay tuned, answering all of your questions tonight on the Vince Dao Show, and a little quick Easter message at the end. But don't go anywhere, stay tuned. And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone to tonight's episode of the Vince Dao Show. I am your host, Vince Dao. And before we begin, everyone be sure to leave a like right now on the stream and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We do this show live every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern time, with the exception of tomorrow, because tomorrow is Good Friday. So programming alert, this will be the last stream of the week. And since it is the last stream of the week, and sometimes I do like to take a break from all of the news and whatnot, and honestly I haven't been feeling that well today, so I figured I was trying to prepare a show. I was like, I don't want to do this, so let's just interact with you guys. And so what we will be doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is I will be answering your guys' questions. It'll just be a Q&A stream. It'll be fun. Now, I did put out a community post earlier, so I have about 8 or so pre-prepared questions from you guys, and then after that I will just take questions from the chat. Now, if you do have a question tonight that you want read and answered, feel free to send it in via a super chat. I'm not sure exactly how I'll do every single question tonight, but obviously I will prioritize the super chats. And so if you for sure want your comment or question read and answered, feel free to send it in via a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, with that said, I guess it's a little bit different of a show tonight, but we could still do it this way. What time is it? It is the hour of Dao. Let us let the Vinsanity commence. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Question number 1 comes from Talks with Kenny. And I started with this question because I feel like it's the most broad and generic and the easiest one to kind of get us going. By the way, guys, any questions you guys have tonight, they don't have to be political, okay? I know that's probably what most people are going to ask because it's obviously a political channel. We make political content. But, you know, personal advice, what's my favorite color, whatever it is, like, let's make it fun. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's, you know, make it more interactive. So that's all up to you. But our first question comes from Talks with Kenny. And again, you can send in a super chat if you want your question answered live. He says, what do you think is the best way for conservatives to gain ground, that is, in the culture war? Now, here's the thing. I think that part of the reason why I kind of look at this question, I'm like, that's so broad, obviously, that there's a lot, but I think that also raises an important point, which is, I think something that we as conservatives need to recognize is this is a culture war, right? And so if it is a culture war, then you have to treat it like a war, and you have to, figuratively speaking, of course, and you have to figuratively treat our side like an army. Now, the thing about having an army is that you don't want all one type of people in the army, right? If your army is all infantry, then you're screwed because you're just going to get airstriked. But if you only have an air force and no infantry, you can't occupy anywhere. You see what I'm saying? Or old school, analogy with the cavalry and all that stuff. And so I think something conservatives need to recognize in the culture war is that we don't just need one thing or one type of person. I think we need to recognize there are different ways to gain ground, and there are different people who have different roles within the movement, right? Some people's roles within the movement are to get people in the door. So their audience is liberals, leftists, or just disaffected independents, and they're out here, you know, bringing the facts and logic to the table, this and that. And then on the other hand, there are the type of people, which I would say I probably more so fall into this camp, although, you know, sometimes I could sit down with the other side, but I consider myself more so in the camp of being the type of guy who energizes the base and tries to give the base the right ideas that we truly need, etc., etc. And so to answer your question, I think the best way currently that we as conservatives can gain ground in the culture war is by picking the spots as individuals that we are best at, or the positions we are best at, and using it and using that position of influence, right? And so if I have this already conservative audience and most of my people are conservative, I'm a political commentator, etc., then the best thing for me to do is to really double down on the base and just keep trying to push that Overton window more and more to the right. Now, if I were, say, a mainstream celebrity, or I had a different type of audience, my audience was just normal people, let's say I was a country music star or something, I might kind of start a little more in the center and try to bring in people, whereas me, myself, would be more engaged. And so that's what I would say. And I think using that kind of like army stratified approach, that's how you move the Overton window to the right. And that needs to be our overall goal, our overall sort of circle of thinking here, is that there is this Overton window. The Overton window, for people who don't know what that is basically the ideas of socially accepted thought, right? Left and right, but there's a sort of idea of the political center in the United States and what is considered socially normal or acceptable within a certain bounds, and anything outside of that Overton window is considered socially unacceptable, ridiculous to a lot of people, etc. We need to basically fight this war and fight for being able to decide what is and isn't normal. And so that's obviously how you have to view it. That's how you gain ground in the culture wars. Push the Overton window right. But like I said, there are different ways to push the Overton window to the right. On one hand, you can stand there and just take people who are already conservative and say, let's push you more and more to the right. Let's solidify our ideas. That's one way to move the window right. The other way is to drag the people who are on the left or in the center to the right, and that's how you kind of wake people up or red pill them or whatever. And so, I don't know if that answers the question. I hope it does, but that is the approach I think we ought to use to gain ground in the culture war. Recognize that approach and recognize again how the Overton window shifts, right? And so let's just pick an example here. The Overton window on LGBT issues, right? I would say the mainstream discussion in America, the Overton window of acceptable LGBT discussion in America, basically hinges around, I think the kind of hot button debate currently in the United States is, should this type of stuff be allowed or pushed on children? And should men be able to compete in women's sports? That's where most of the alphabet LGBT ABC discussion is nowadays. I don't think that's enough, right? Because, for instance, on the topic of the Transformers, the Decepticons, I don't think the only problem, societally speaking, with that is that it's only pushed on kids. Like I think regardless, I don't think it should be an accepted or normalized thing for a man to dress up as a woman to dress up as a man, etc., etc. But if I want to move the Overton window to the right on that topic, you have to sort of gain ground, right? So first I got to stop their advance by getting them to not sexualize children and all this, and then you can push further to the right. And so that's how I view the culture war. Hopefully that answers your question here. But let's see. Aiden Wheeler for $2. Thank you very much. And his question is, do you believe in the Jia dynasty of China? Let me look that up. Isn't that one of the more obscure Chinese dynasties? I don't even know how you say that. It was one of the first. So it was the one that they're not sure whether or not it existed. Huh. That is very interesting. So apparently it's supposedly the first dynasty of China, but historians don't know if it was actually a real thing. I like to believe it was actually a real thing. A lot of things in history, besides aliens, because I don't believe in that stuff, but a lot of things in history where people are like, was that true? Is that real? I just like to believe that it's real because it's cool. And so yes, I do believe in the Jia dynasty, however you pronounce it. Also, it has an X in the name and it sounds cool. Okay, the Jia, whatever. So I will say I believe it simply because I want to believe it. Dollar for Dollar says $2 says thoughts on Jimmy Buffett. That is the You always ask me of all these. Okay. Oh yeah. He's the guy who wrote Margaritaville. He's cool then. That's a good song. Want to smoke cigars with me? I will smoke cigars with you anytime, dollar for dollar. That sounds quite fun and cool. All right. Again, if you want to have your question or comment read or answered live, feel free to send it in via a super chat. But here we go. On to our next pre-recorded community question here. And this is the one the stream is titled after, for anyone who's wondering. Why'd you title the stream? Serious question. A time traveler comes back in time and tells you that Trump didn't win the 2024 election because his personality put off all independent and swing voters. Would you still support his 2024 run? And this question comes in from John Watts. Well, John, I suppose it's a good question and an interesting question. But it's really hard to say because, that would be hindsight. We, in real life, don't have the actual benefit of hindsight. But to sort of answer your question here, I mean, yeah, if you had a time traveler, if Marty McFly came back and said, Doc, we lost the election by like 400 points, then I'd be okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know, I suppose. But the thing is, like, this is such a hypothetical question that it's a very hard thing to answer, right? Because we don't have the time traveler. We don't have hindsight. We don't know if Trump's personality is going to put off all independence or, whatever it is, whatever the issue is. I will say, though, obviously, I think to most people, right, Trump's electability is a concern. It's something I think about. It's something a lot of people think about. But part of the reason why I'm not entirely sold on the idea that Trump is unelectable, especially in the modern electoral system, is that when you really look at the way the electoral system functions now, it's not so much the electoral system of 2004, is it? Because you see, back then, the independent vote and the suburban moderate vote, whatever, that stuff, even back as far back as 2016, 2018, was very important before they implemented the voting system that they have now, right? The voting system we have now, which we understand our criticisms of it, but it's very based on turnout. When you have a month of elections, when you have mass mail-in voting, when it's so ridiculously easy to get a ballot and all this stuff, really, I think nowadays what the modern election comes down to is not even about getting independents out to vote. It's really about turnout. Who can turn out who's, sort of commonly accepted base better than the other one, if that makes sense, right? Arizona, prime example of this. Arizona, Katie Hobbs, terrible candidate. She didn't even campaign. She didn't do anything. And, but, in the other discussion, right? Partially what happened there is that because the Democrats have gotten so good at this mail-in voting thing and they're so good at basically ballot harvesting in one way or another, right? They're good at just getting people who would hypothetically vote for them out to vote, and they're very good at turnout and turnout initiatives and all that. And what do? They just blitz the inner city, collect a bunch of ballots, turn them all in. And back then, when it was harder to vote, this was a little harder to do, right? It was harder to get your average inner city loser who would vote for the Democratic Party if you got him out and forced to vote. That sort of non-voter type of person that hypothetically would vote for your party. For a while, it was very hard to do that because, hey, you had to actually be responsible. You had to register far in advance for the election. You had to show up to vote in person, all this. Now that voting is so insanely easy because of this system, really, I think that the most important thing in 2024 is not going to boil down to who can win independence. It's really going to boil down to who can turn out the base, and also from a campaign and strategic perspective, who has the best strategy to turn out the base, right? And so part of the reason why I'm not as sold on the whole Trump isn't electable argument as perhaps some is because if we understand that this is how elections really work right now, and as we've seen post-COVID, a big reason Republicans have lost a lot of different elections is not because of independents or suburban moderates, right? If anything, actually, if you look, those groups have been trending to the right since Biden has taken office. The reason why is because rural turnout, aka your hardcore Republican people, are not showing up to vote in the same type of proportions that the Democrats are getting all their inner city losers and idiots to do. And so my big thing with Trump is that obviously you have a lot of not super political people in rural America who do not turn out to vote every election. They don't always care about every single election that there is out there, but they are passionate about Trump and they love Trump very much and they get very energetic for Trump. And so my thing about Trump is that Democrats have already built in this turnout machine. We need a Republican who can counter the turnout machine by turning out the rural areas, turning out the hardcore base, and turning out, really think about this, like your average, perhaps small town welder or plumber, you know, that sort of like generically white working class trade worker, small town people, whatever, or their wives, their family, their kids, or whatever it is, over 18, obviously, that would vote Republican and would vote Trump if handed a ballot, but don't turn it out in every election. My whole thing about Trump is that I don't know what's going to happen in 2024. I think, honestly, the situation is pretty grim regardless. It's going to be an uphill battle. But I'm partially convinced he can do that better than DeSantis. I am convinced he could do that better than DeSantis. Now, there are counter arguments. You could say, well, DeSantis is probably more electable in the suburbs. That is true. You know, or you could also say, well, DeSantis doesn't turn out people against him, right? Yes, Trump turns out people to support, but he also turns out people against them because they're angry, they don't like him. My whole thing on that, though, is that, like I said, because of the way the electoral system works now, that whole turnout thing is already kind of built in for the Democrats, in my opinion, right? Because of the machine they've set up here. It's already built in, and so we have to just build our own turnout to match that, if that makes sense. And so that's sort of my take on the Trump electability argument. A lot of it is variable. A lot of it we don't know. We don't really know what would happen and what will happen. But, you know, I understand the argument a lot of DeSantis people use on the electability thing. Believe me, I kind of see what they're trying to say. But my counter to that also is that, well, can Ron DeSantis really go into Wisconsin, for instance, which we saw what happened with the Supreme Court, not good, and turn out the rural people in the numbers that he needs to match Democratic turnout? That is the big kind of question mark there, and so that waits to be seen. But all right, we got more super chat questions here, so let's check it out. My friend has a dollar for $2 says, my dad has a friend named John Adams. Based. That is quite based. That is quite based. Burgundy Blue for $5. Thank you very much. Says, Vince, could you make a segment for audio chats in the last 20 minutes of the show? I know last time it didn't turn out okay, but I could keep the convo going. Thank you for the $5, Burgundy Blue. But I don't plan to do it tonight because the next time I do it, I want to do it properly. Like, you know, maybe have someone help me bring in people and make it very organized and make it an actual NDI source in the computer so I'm not holding my phone to the mic. I don't have that set up, but we will do it at some point on one of our kind of bonus shows like tonight. But not tonight, but we will do it hopefully eventually soon. All right, let's see. Thank you for the $5. God bless you, Burgundy Blue. Pierce Buckley for $10. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Pierce Buckley. Says, Vince, I am torn with what avenue I want to pursue in life. I think I want to be a firefighter and help people, but also the pay isn't amazing and is concerning given the economy's trajectory. Your thoughts? Thank you for the $10, Pierce Buckley. It is a legitimate question. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. So let me think about this question a little bit. Obviously, being a firefighter, in my opinion, is a very virtuous job. It is a very masculine job, and I'm sure you feel the same way. It serves a duty. It serves, you know what I mean? But you are right on the economic front. It is a little bit concerning. What I will say, though, about being a firefighter is that there's a lot of private sector jobs right now that are at risk of being taken by AI, right? Because I don't know if you guys have ever even used ChatGPT, but you see, I already see what that's going to do to a lot of business sectors. And then what happens when AIs are able to do other stuff outside of writing? Like, there's so much of just the business world and the professional world that is going to be replaced by AI. And I think you as a firefighter, that's one of the things that they're always going to need to be done by people. So you could look at it in one way. The pay isn't great, I suppose, and there's that issue. But I would also point to you kind of the other side of it, which is the fact that, like I said, there's a degree of security, I think, in the job. So that is something to consider. I don't know what alternatives you're thinking of that would probably be helpful to understand this. Like what are you thinking of instead of being a firefighter? Then maybe we can weigh the options, because I don't know where you are, your education level, whatever it is. So I will definitely say it is valid to be concerned about the pay. With the way inflation is going to go, and the cost of things and the value of the dollar, all of that, you are absolutely right to be concerned about that and want to pursue a job that, or a future career that, A, is independent, and B, makes you a lot of money, because that's really the only way you and your family can be secure, frankly, is if you're making a lot of money. Obviously, a firefighter does not make a lot of money. You do get a lot of good benefits, pension, all that stuff, but then is that going to be guaranteed? I don't know. What I will say, though, Pierce Buckley, is this. I will say that being a firefighter will teach you a lot of skills about life. It'll teach you a lot of skills about being a man that you can translate to other things. You're just a strong human being. You're just a warrior of a person. You will be a warrior of a person, because, going through the job, going through the trauma associated with the job, it will make you into a man, right? Inevitably. I'm sure you already are, but it will make you into a man. It will give you courage and strength. And I think a lot of times, in the same way, very good soldiers can come home, and some come home obviously PTSD, all these problems, but the ones who really took it and it actually disciplined them, and it taught them a lot of useful skills, they very often are able to translate that to other areas of life, right? Because they work ethic, discipline, courage, duty, those sort of traits are instilled in them, and so they can learn how to do other things. And so that's what I would also consider, Pierce Buckley, is that if you had a point being a firefighter where you feel like you can't do it anymore, or you're not making enough money, you will have learned a lot of useful life skills along the way that could probably teach you how to do something else, or if not teach you, at least give you the sort of attributes, the sort of it factor to be able to do something else. And so like I said, I'd probably be able to answer the question better if I know what you're considering an alternative, but I think those are some things to consider. Thank you for the $10, Pierce Buckley. I believe he followed up here. He said, okay, private pilot is the thing he's also considering. Thank you for the $5. He says he's also considering being a private pilot, 3 associates in the natural state of Arkansas after living in Orange County, California. P.S. I just turned 23. Well, being a private pilot probably will make you more money. I will say that. I guess you're moving to Arkansas. You live in Arkansas right now. You have 3 associate's degrees. See, it's a hard decision. I don't know either. That really is up to you. I will say, probably if I were you in your position, I would choose the private pilot thing, because it pays better. It's more secure, stuff like that. So my advice would be to take the pilot route, but consult with people closer to you. Like, I don't know everything about your life, whatever. But obviously being a pilot probably pays very decent money, and it's still, I don't see it as like a slavery type of job to do either. You'll probably have fun doing it. It becomes kind of a thing, you know what I mean? Is you get to fly a plane. So if I were you, I'd go with the private pilot route. More financial security. I don't know what the education is for, but I'd have to imagine it's not, you don't have to go to like 4 years of college, I don't think. And then especially if you're a private pilot, you could work for an airline, but if you get to the point where you're flying around like private jets, rich people, I mean, that's big, right? That'll pay you a lot of money, obviously. Those people, I have to assume, get paid a lot. But then also, think about this aspect of it too, right? The perks of what it would be to be a private jet pilot is that you get to hang around rich people, successful people, businessmen, and you get to pick their brain. I think that is one of the most important things about becoming business successful, financially successful, is being able to pick the brain and kind of be indirectly mentored, at least indirectly, by a lot of people who already have experience and they've done it and they've made it, you know what I mean? And so if you could get that gig, not only would it pay well, it'd probably teach you how to make money in a lot of other regards. So I would consider that. So that's probably the answer I would give you. Dollar for $2 says another pilot. Let's go, Pierce, become a pilot. Well, dollar for dollar endorses it. So true. I think I agree. I think the pilot there is the answer I would give. I don't think pilots see their families often, though. Yeah, that is obviously a concern, but neither do soldiers, right? It is something about the lifestyle you have to consider, but at least looking at it from a financial perspective, I'd probably give you the pilot answer. We're at 48 likes. Let's get to 50 likes here on the stream, and again, as usual, you want questions or comments read and answered live, send them in as super chats. I'm getting caught up here. Talks with Kenny for $10. Thank you very much. Says, you wanted a personal question. I got you. How has college been for you after your viral Vice video? I am interested in how your college life has been affected by it. So here's the thing about me in college is I don't really have the time to be social. Okay, that's probably how actually changed my college life the most, because this year I've been trying to take the content stuff and the political stuff very, very seriously, and business and all that seriously. And so like I do classes and stuff, and I have friends or whatever on campus, but I don't really have the time anymore for a social life in college, to be totally honest with you. College Republicans and stuff overlaps with the times I have to do these shows and prep these shows, so I can't do that. I don't have the time for a fraternity or anything like that. And so I would say that whole thing has not really affected me directly, but I guess in terms of how it's affected just life being in college, I don't say this even in a bad way. I know it's a sacrifice I consciously made, but I just don't have as much of a social life anymore. Not because anyone hates me for it or whatever, but because I do this show every night now, and I work really hard on the content. I work really hard on business and all that. So that's probably the way it's changed my life the most. Thank you for the $10, Kenny. I live a very busy life. But, I'm young. I can handle it. Thank you for the 10. God bless you. Ali for $5. Thank you very much. Says, how do we maintain American geopolitical primacy without cucking to globalism? China as the hegemon would be dangerous for everyone. Thank you for the $5. Ali 2567. I appreciate it. I think we have to get the American domestic economy turning, okay? So the first thing you got to do, I think, is and Donald Trump was trying to do this. You got to tariff and tax things that are not especially American companies that are producing outside of America, economically incentivize them coming to America. So obviously tariff, taxes, be a little bit harsh on foreign imports, obviously. I would also say on the flip side, you have to make the American economy conducive to business and doing business, right? Which, as you can see right now, especially for a lot of different industries, just simply is not, right? For instance, we have a lot of oil as a country, actually, Alaska, Texas. We're a country full of oil, and we cannot get, under Biden, you can't even basically drill oil. Nobody wants to drill it because, all that stuff. So I think that's kind of the two-step solution. You have to make the American economy conducive for business, right? And so the way you do that is obviously tariff, tax, etc. And then, domestically make it easy to do business here is probably what I would say. Thank you for the $5, Ollie. I appreciate it. JD for $2 says, Democrats willing to blank, Republicans not, difference in election. Thank you for the $2. JD, I appreciate it. YouTube. He made a typo. Obviously. Okay, Enclave Nationalist for $5. Thank you very much. Says, if you were trapped in the late 1890s / early 1900s, what would you do? I would probably build a railroad. Enclave Nationalist. Actually, that's probably a few decades before. But I don't know. What's the other racial stereotype of the time? I'd be a fisherman. I'd be a fisherman on the West Coast, I guess. Thank you for the $5. Enclave Nationalist, appreciate it very much. All right, we're getting good super chats. Thank you guys for the support. Let me get all caught up here. Ben Leela for $5 says, what do you think the future is for standardized testing and college admissions for Asian Americans? Thank you for the $5, Ben. I appreciate it. So I know there's some lawsuits right now. I don't know what the status of those is. What the status of those is. What the status of those are. But standardized testing, I think basically we're eventually going to move to the post-standardized testing era, at least temporarily, because COVID sort of, for a while, there was a push to get rid of the SAT already because it was racist, quote unquote. According to them, the reason the SAT was racist is because it actually is an incredibly, not perfect, obviously, but it is actually a rather effective means of testing intelligence and testing specifically academic acumen. The SAT test is designed to figure out your success level in the first year of college. That's what it's a predictor of. It's a predictor of your success in your first year of college. And it actually does, if you look at the statistics, it actually does a pretty decent job of this, right? It's a decent predictor of that success. It is an objective test that everyone has to take, blah, blah, blah. But because there are racial disparities in the test results that are obviously not very convenient to the social narratives of certain people, then it must be an inherently racist test, right? The SAT must be racist. And so that push has been going on for a while. But also during COVID, they suspended the SAT, and a lot of schools didn't make you take it anymore. You know, the whole kind of story there. So I think that eventually these, especially, I mean, we know how academia is. I think a lot of these clowns are going to win. Now, I think maybe small, like red state public schools especially will probably still keep standardized testing. You know, I'm sure University of Alabama, University of Florida, Georgia, places like that are probably still going to require the SAT. But I think you definitely are going to see a push. A lot of these big, like posh, liberal private schools are going to move past the SAT. And so I think that's going away, which actually sucks. It actually sucks in a lot of ways because the SAT is actually what makes everything fair. Because even if it were not a fair test, which it is, but even if it were not a fair test, hey, everyone has to take the same test, right? It's mano a mano, right? Whereas GPA can be totally inflated or deflated depending, hey, maybe this one teacher at your school for the same class is very hard, right? Something like that. Or, you know, whether it's that, maybe you go to a private school, right? Some of these kids at private schools, they're able to get like 5.0 GPAs because, you know, they have all these different classes. You could take like 10 classes and the grades are inflated or whatever. And then, you know, the poor kid who goes to some public school where they don't have all those luxuries and benefits. They can't take, you know, 8 classes and all this stuff, 8 AP classes. Their GPA is screwed. And so, you know, it actually does not make things fair because not everyone went to the same school, had the same teacher, had to take the same exact test. The only way to truly make the whole process fair is to make everyone take the same test. And it turns out the SAT is actually a very good test, an effective test, but they're going to get rid of it. I predict that. It may eventually end up coming back because after a while they're going to realize, oh, we got rid of the SAT and now everyone's flunking out of college and the results are horrible. What do we do? So you may eventually see a pendulum swing back, but standardized testing, I think, is gone. It's going to be on the way out. College admissions for Asian Americans, I don't know. It really depends on how these lawsuits go. It's an interesting question because part of me feels like the discrimination against Asians in college admissions in the coming years is actually going to decrease. It's going to become better for us, but it's going to become worse for white people, right? Because whereas before it was just an equity thing, oh, there's too many Asians or whatever, now you're starting to see the left move toward a very blatantly, no, we just don't like white people. White people are the problem. And actually Asians are on our side now. Stop Asian hate, right? Forget affirmative action. Stop Asian hate. We're all with you now. And so I actually think from like a social justice front, they might actually end up being easier on Asians, but harder on white people and specifically white men. Like I think I forgot what it was, but I saw something along the lines of, I think it was the Stanford Medical School or something, and they were showing like the people they admitted, and there was not a single white guy in the whole admittance class. And so it's like, you know, what kind of is the future there? And so that's what I think. Thank you for the $5, Ben Leela. Hope that answered your question. God bless you. Burgundy Blue for $10. Thank you very much. Says, Vince, you were confused by the anti-Flynn effect, so I will explain. People in the late 19th century had a higher biological IQ, but a lower total IQ because people in the 20th century had better nutrition and education. Thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. How do you measure biological IQ versus total IQ? I don't know how. Do you do it as as a baby? I don't know how that's done, because obviously I know a part of it is biological, but I don't know how people calculate which part of it's more or less biological. Not sure. Thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. Because my other thing with that could be that before the 1800s, if you were to IQ test a baby, what kind of babies are you IQ testing? Are you going to random farms in the middle of nowhere and IQ testing like the peasant kids? Or would you IQ test the sons of elites and all that? And also, as the data becomes more widespread, you can IQ test more people. So I don't know. I don't know exactly how that would work. But thank you for the $10, Burgundy Blue. Appreciate it. Let's see here. And getting caught up here, $1 for $2 says, will you bring back the bandana from the Instagram? I'm too old for that $1 for $. That was cool when I was in high school and I was still in LA. It kind of did the like TikTok influencer type of thing I had going on back then. I'm too old for it now. But, you know, maybe one day I'll put it on for the nostalgia. I don't even have it. I'd have to get a new bandana. Appreciate it. Appreciate the $2 for $. All right, let's get back to the community questions I had loaded up here. So that was what? Question 2 on the community ones. So let's see here. Question 3. And again, you have questions you want read and answered. The super chats are open. But here we go. CCP informant. Huh. CCP informant. Who should be Trump VP? Tulsi Gabbard? No, I don't. So if you ask me, I know that Trump wants to choose a woman as the VP because Biden has a woman as his VP. I don't know. I like, is that necessary? I feel like that's, I mean, maybe it'll help the females in the electorate, whatever. But then, okay, you beat Hillary Clinton without any of that. So I don't know. Because my ideal VP for Trump is someone like, I don't know, maybe a Josh Hawley. Or honestly, I don't really want DeSantis to be the VP because you could argue he's too big of a personality to be Trump's VP. It would be better at that point to keep him in Florida if he loses the primary, whatever. But I do think that if the primary does end up being very divisive, which I think it will be, and the party is genuinely like very divided by the end of the primary and that becomes an issue, then I think actually it'd probably be a good idea to make DeSantis the VP just so that way the party can be united on that front. That doesn't sound like that's going to happen because Trump wants a woman. And so of women candidates, the problem with Tulsi Gabbard is that she really doesn't have a lot of name recognition or reach or appeal outside of like the internet. You know, the Joe Rogan audience likes her, and, you know, Jordan Peterson type of audience, stuff like that. But when you consider most of the electorate is older people, I mean, how many of them are even that familiar with Tulsi? And, you know, so if you're picking a female VPs, then I guess someone like a Kim Reynolds, she's the governor of Iowa. That's not a bad pick. Carrie Lake would be a good pick, but she's never won elected office, and she probably she doesn't complement Trump. She's too much like Trump, so that probably wouldn't be the best option. So out of like women in the GOP, I don't want Elise Stefanik. Elise Stefanik is a liberal, so I don't want her. I certainly don't want a Nancy Mace or someone like that. Trump doesn't like Nancy Mace anyway, so that's fine. But I guess Kim Reynolds, again, the governor of Iowa, that might be a decent pick. You could do Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's the governor of Arkansas, but she's too like just right wing already, right? Like I don't know if she would compliment Trump well enough. So I'm not sure. But let's see here. All right. Thank you. CCP informant. Who do you think should be Trump's VP? Are you trying to spy on us? By the way, his profile picture is John Cena, okay? Oh, I am John Cena. Can you help me figure out Trump VP? No, Mr. Cena. No, Mr. Gina, okay? John Gina, John China. All right, real. Okay. So that was question 3. Let's go on to question 4 from the community. And again, super chats are open if you want your own comment answered or read. Oh, here we go. Okay, which do you prefer more, pho or spaghetti? So the reason Chesscom support is asking this question is because I'm obviously Vietnamese and Italian. That is my genetic mix. And so she's asking pho or spaghetti. So it depends on what's on the spaghetti. Because I'm not the biggest fan of marinara sauce, okay? Oh, you can't. Italian says he's not the biggest fan. It's not that I hate marinara sauce. It's just not like marinara sauce, meat sauce, the red sauce type of stuff. I'll eat it. It's fine. It's not really my favorite thing. And so considering it's typical spaghetti with marinara sauce, I'm taking the pho. But if it's spaghetti in like butter or, Alfredo or, even pesto, I do like pesto, then I'll probably take the spaghetti. There's your answer. It's kind of racist. For you to assume just because I'm Vietnamese and Italian that I like the pho and spaghetti. Come on now, Chesscom support. No, actually, your stereotypes are correct. I very much enjoy both of my ethnic foods. But then again, I'm not a picky eater. I like a lot of different food, okay? Now, I know good food when I eat it because I have like a exquisite taste. Growing up in LA, because I grew up in LA, the food is so good and there's all sorts of food. And so when you go and eat bad food other places, that's the only thing nice about LA is the food. You go eat bad food other places, but I'm also not picky. Like I can eat like anything. So I do like pho and spaghetti, much like many of my ancestors did. Thank you, Chesscom support. Appreciate it very much. Well, actually, she just submitted it. It's a community question. All right, we got a super chat here from Mr. Rat, who sends 100 SEK. I've never seen that currency before. He sends 100 sex. Well, okay, wait. Well, I probably shouldn't say it like that. I shouldn't say it like that. But thank you for the 100 SEK, Mr. Rat. He says, greetings and happy Easter from Sweden. Okay, it's Swedish currency. Your guys' currency is... Okay, all right. Who is your favorite conservative commentator other than yourself? You're asking me to choose, Mr. Rat. So that's a hard question because there's a lot of different ones that I like for different reasons, right? And so... See, whatever answer I give here is going to be wrong because then it alienates or attacks someone else. So I'll divide it into 2 categories. Okay, I'll do it like this. I'll say actually 3 categories. Favorite written conservative commentator, favorite internet conservative commentator, and favorite TV commentator. Okay, favorite written commentator, Pat Buchanan. Obviously, I think most people would assume that he's sort of the original author and creator of the modern paleocon America First movement ideology, the predecessor ideologically to Trump. So Pat Buchanan, written commentator, he's now retired, but still mad respect. Hope he's doing well. Favorite internet commentator? See, whatever answer I give here is going to be wrong because then there is so-and-so is going to be like, well, what about me? That's difficult. That is difficult. I'm going to say Michael Knowles because he had me on the show. There you go. Which genuinely he was up there in my thoughts already. But I'll say Michael Knowles, favorite internet commentator. What was the other one? TV's Tucker Carlson. That's a fairly easy one. Thank you for the 100 SEKs. The 100 SEKs. Mr. Rat, appreciate it. Good to see you. That's his first ever super chat. I appreciate it, Mr. Rat. Appreciate it very much. God bless you. Okay, Burgundy Blue for another $10 here. Thank you very much, Burgundy Blue. I appreciate it. Leave a like on the stream, by the way. Let's get to 100 likes here. He says there are questions on IQ tests that measure something called G factor in people's scores, and these remain the same even after retesting or training. 19th century people did well on these questions, making them top G. I never knew about that. I never knew about the G factor. That's very interesting, Burgundy Blue. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I would like to test my own G factor then. I am curious about that. I'm curious about that. I took a very simplistic IQ test a few weeks ago, and I think it was a simple one, so it didn't give me exact. It was between like a range. I think the range was like 125 to 140 is what it told me. But I'm not sure. So thank you for the $10. I appreciate it very, very much. All right, let's see. Let's finish up our community questions here, and then we can go to the chat. But as usual, super chats I will stop and pause for. So, all right, let's see. What question was that? 4. Let's go to 5. Enclave Nationalist says, do you think capitalism can be do you think capitalism can be compatible with nationalism? Yeah, I think so. Obviously, I mean, in theory, your free market, global capitalism would be open borders, whatever. But just in the sense that you can have privatization and, you know, private means of production and all that stuff within a domestic economy, absolutely. In fact, that's kind of the ideal I, for the most part, strive for is, again, fairly free and loose markets within our own country to encourage business and to make life easy and best for everyone. Obviously, you know, I don't worship the free market. There are some things I believe we can step in and regulate from a moral perspective, such as seed oils in the food. Real. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, actually, I would say this is essentially what I support. We need capitalism domestically and like nationalism globally, right? And so protect the domestic economy, protect manufacturing, protect our industry, all of that stuff, but also domestically make it very easy for our industry to exist, and that's part of protecting it too. So I absolutely think so. So thank you for the question, Enclave Nationalist, and I do believe so. I was at 5. Wait, that might have been 4. No, that was... Okay. All right. Next question here from the community. Would you marry a woman who plays The Craft? So this is obviously Minecraft. For context, to people who don't know, was it last week? Last Friday, maybe? I don't remember exactly when. Recently, we did a show where I was like, okay, let's play some games. Let's have fun in the stream. And a lot of you guys suggested that I play Minecraft. And long story short, I did not enjoy Minecraft because like I said, that was actually my first time in my life really playing Minecraft. I played it like once on my friend's computer before, but that was about it. And, you know, I was running around that whole stream confused. I was like, what's the point of this game? What are you supposed to do? I got killed by skeletons in the first night. That was a situation there. And so, you know, I went on this whole anti-Minecraft rant on like, this game is stupid. This game is like, what is this? Like, I don't get it. To which, in fact, a lot of people got very mad at on Twitter. I literally had people ferociously angry at me and ratioing me because I did not like Minecraft. To which I say I really wish people had that passion over something that was not a video game. But okay, regardless, would I marry a girl who plays Minecraft? I don't particularly care about the Minecraft front. I mean, you like Minecraft. It's not a big deal to me. But I don't find it attractive when girls play video games. Is that a hot take? Because I understand the gamer girl thing. I understand why guys find it hot, you know, because it's like, I'm a tomboy. I'm doing what you do. You know, it's like, it's the same way in, you know, back in the day, guys like probably thought it was hot to see like girls like next to cool sports cars that they drove or something. Like I understand that dynamic, but when you're really like boiling it down, I don't find it attractive in like a wife material sense of things, right? I don't find it attractive for a girl to be like a gamer, right? Like I said, I understand why guys, you know, with the other part of their brain are attracted to the sight of some girl with a video game controller because they play video games in the same way, you know, a girl, you know, driving a pickup truck or a fast car, like older guys find that, you know, hot, quote unquote, right? I understand that front. But it's like, I don't find that to be like a wife material type of thing. And so, you know, if a girl has played video games in her life before, whatever, but I don't find it like long-term romantically attractive in general for a girl to be a gamer. Like I'm not into that. Because there's just something about it that's very like tomboyish and also childish, but like tomboyish. And it's just, you know what I'm saying? It's not right. It's not quite right. So I would probably not marry a girl who plays the craft, not because of the craft, just because I don't find the gamer girl thing to be, you know, again, romantically attractive, right? I understand the other sense in which it's attractive. Trust me, I get that, but romantically attractive, I'm not super into that. Honestly, I don't really play video games myself. I've played them every now and then on stream because it's content, but you know, genuinely, I starting this year, I used to play some growing up. You know, I really recognized it was a waste of time. It was wasting my time. And I genuinely just don't have the time to play games anymore. And people can get mad. Oh, you're not a gamer. For some reason, people are highly insulted when they find out I'm not a gamer. It's like, you know, if that's what you like to do in your free time, fine. Like, you know, I'm not here to live your life for you. But are we really going to sit here and say that you playing Call of Duty or Minecraft all day or whatever it is? Okay, you have fun. You're chronically addicted to it, fine. But are you really going to say there's something based or like something you're actually getting out of it that it's important? No, it's not, you know? It's not making you money. It's not really teaching you anything. It's not training your brain. I don't care. Oh, it's training my brain. Maybe marginally to an extent, but there's way more things you could do that would train your brain and also be effective in the process and make you into a better man one way or the other, or make you money or do something that young guys waste hours and hours on, whether it's playing video games or being addicted to social media or whatever it is. And so, you know, that's been my thing this year. I play them on stream because it's content, and obviously I get super chats, so I actually make money doing it and stuff, and it's, you know, it's part of the brand. But privately, I've not played a single video game once all year, and I mean that. I've not touched a controller, and maybe at some point, you know, nostalgia for an hour or whatever, but genuinely, I don't have the time. And I think that's actually a flex. I'm actually proud of the fact that I don't have the time, because it means I'm putting myself and my brain and my mental acumen into something that is useful. So that might piss off a lot of young guys, and I'm sure it will. Oh, well, you're not a gamer, bro. You know, it's like, again, if that's what you do in your free time, I'm not here to particularly insult you for it, okay? It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal to me. Like, I played video games growing up. It's not like I've never touched an Xbox or whatever. But I'm just saying, to sit here and pretend like that actually makes you based and red-pilled because you waste your time all day playing video games, you waste several hours on end, when again, you could be doing something that's actually making you into a better man, whether that's working out or making money or doing something, right? Reading the Bible, reading books, whatever it is, right? It's like, video games definitionally are a waste of your time. Unless you are out here being you're a very successful Twitch streamer and that's your job, which your job is to make money off of a bunch of losers who like to watch that stuff, but whatever. Unless that's genuinely your job, how can you look at me and tell me that like wasting several hours out of your day playing video games is based, right? And part of the reason I was getting mad at Minecraft or whatever was because, yeah, it wasn't entertaining or whatever. But people are saying, you just aren't creative. You don't have... The thing about video games, right, is that I don't want to really play a video game that I know is going to take like several hours on end to get any fun out of, because I don't have that type of time. And the world moves so fast, and the world I live in moves so fast that I don't have the time to sit here and play 10 hours worth of a game to get any enjoyment out of it. And so I look at something like Minecraft, and people can say, oh, you have a short attention span. Well, I think like that because I look at it like this is a game, this is a waste of time, this is not doing anything productive for me. So if I'm gonna do it for fun, at least maximize the fun, maximize the dopamine receptors, let me like do some, you know what I mean? So, but that's my personal take on video games. But again, girls playing video games, again, I understand why it's hot, quote unquote, but I don't, like I said, wife material type of thinking, I don't find it romantically attractive, to answer your question. All right. Burgundy Blue for another $5. Thank you very much. Big support tonight. Burgundy Blue says, I recommend taking the Danish Mensa IQ test. It is very accurate. And despite being in Danish, you don't need to speak it. Excuse me. You don't need to speak it in order to understand its pattern recognition. Thank you for the $5, Burgundy Blue. Burgundy Blue is very obsessed right now with this IQ thing. Curious. No, I'll look into it sometime. Hopefully when I'm not tired. But yeah. Let me see the chat thoughts on my gaming take. Vince just changed my mind on gamer girls with his perspective. I love to see it, Ryan. I love to see it. No, it's true, right? It's true. Like I said, I understand why guys are, you know, eyes, other body parts attracted to it. But like, yeah, think about it logically. Like, does that scream, I want to marry this girl? Or does it scream, I want to something else, right? See, and so I'm answering the question there with my smart brain, not my hormonal brain, right? Does that make sense? And it's true. It is true. It's true. If she got that joystick, she might be for the streets. I'm just saying. All right. Burgundy Blue for $2 says Sudoku is the only video game real men play. Well, that like enhances your brain. And so does like chess. And so stuff like that I think is useful. But opinion on the trad wife tread from Enclave Nationalist. Thank you for the 2. I assume that means trad wife trend. I mean, I think it's overall a net positive. Now, very often it is cringe and just overdone and over the top, right? There's a very big LARPy aspect to it that's just ridiculous, right? You know, like, oh, if you're wearing pants ever as a woman, then that's not based. You know, if you have a private Instagram account, that's not, you need to delete it. Like, there's all this like cringeous LARPing and purity spiraling that goes on, and a lot of it's very performative, and the woman in the super long trad dress is actually just fishing for attention, and then privately she's a massive blank, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of that, but I think overall, I don't like the term trad wife because it's so, I want my trad wife. That sounds like someone who has never had a girlfriend. I want a trad wife. But I will say the general push, however cringe it is for culturally, you know, more traditional women, it's a net positive, right? It's a net positive. There's a lot of ways in which it could be better and not so cringe all the time and so forced all the time, but you know, that's kind of the way a lot of things are on the internet these days. And so what are you going to do? And so, like I said, I think it's a general net positive. At least it imparts better values in a lot of women than they came in having, right? So it's fine. But I do really wish the sphere was not so LARPy and performative about it so often. Oh my gosh, your girlfriend's wearing pants? Your girlfriend has an Instagram account? God, you didn't log off. That's not base. But then on the other hand, there's a lot of women who genuinely are just in it for a very forced reason and just fishing for attention and posting cringe content to get attention. So that obviously does need to be called out, and that's like annoying. But, you know, eventually guys will see that and like, she posted on Instagram. She's not based in trad. Neither are you, buddy. All right. Vince is already an Asian parent, lol. Hey. It you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? No, honestly, I don't have very stereotypically Asian parents. My dad's basically white, My dad is half Asian, but he looks totally white. Like, he does not even look Asian. But I wasn't really raised in, so in some ways yes, in some ways no. My mom has always been very like do well in school, and she used to like sit me down through like 4th and 5th grade. She used to give me like double homework because she wanted me to be ahead and smarter than everyone else, right? And so I do school, it was easy, but then she would make me like, she was making me learn like algebra in like 4th or 5th grade, right? So I had that aspect of the Asian parenting thing, but I never had like the whole tiger mom thing of like, you can't be creative, you have to just work, go be doctor. Like, my parents have always like, you need to make money, you need to be independent, but like, you know, you can be creative, you can have ideas or whatever. So I feel like that sort of mix and just the way I naturally am sort of raised me into being, I guess, this person you see now, right? Because I actually grew up, I enjoyed history, I enjoyed humanities, I enjoyed writing, all that stuff. It was actually my better subject in school. One of the few Asian kids who can say that. Now, I was good at math and science. I got all A's, and I never got a B in grade school. So I got all A's in both. It was fine. But I was, you know, math, I was just a good math student. In English, like, English humanities, I was like exceptional at, like, you know, growing up and all that stuff. And probably now I'm more average because I haven't trained that as much. But like, I say I am convinced I could have taught, at the time at least, a lot of my U.S. history classes and my history classes better than my teachers. You know, I was kind of like that. And my parents my mom especially encouraged that still. Like, she encouraged me. A lot of Asian kids, they just went to this thing in California called Kumon, which is just like math boot camps, and it trains you to be like a Chinese, Korean robot, whatever. I was never like that. I was always like the kid who actually took more interest in humanities and all. And my mom always encouraged that type of, you know, interest in humanities, creativity and stuff. And so, yeah, in some ways, we could go for 2 hours tonight, by the way, because I'm not doing a show tomorrow because it's Good Friday, so we'll do a 2-hour show, FYI. I know it's already 9 o'clock. So in some ways, yeah, I was raised by Asian parents, and in other ways, not really. It's, if anything, it's like it's a American Asian mix of style there, right? Vince wears his suits 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. This is true. This is so true. Mao Jiao Sen. Can I start saying your name like that? Mao Jiao Sen. Okay? Mao Jiao Sen. Oh, Vince wears his suit 7 days a week. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Mao Jiao Sen. So true. So true. Imagine getting B's. Oh, I've gotten plenty of B's in college, but that's because I'm occupied with other things, as you know. Okay. Let's see here. We're almost done with these community questions, and then I'll take some from the chat. Again, super chats are open, and then we'll go till 10 p.m. I'm having fun. I'm having fun doing this. We should do this every Friday. We can't. Sometimes there's too much news. But all right. What is your favorite Bible story in the Old Testament? This question comes from TVN64. Why does OBS keep doing this? Oh, there we go. Okay. What's my favorite Bible story of the Old Testament? I will be honest, I'm not fully literate in the Old Testament. Like, you know, there's a lot of Old Testament stories I literally am completely unaware of. But I'd probably say that the story of Noah's Ark and also Sodom and Gomorrah, those sort of like early stories, I don't know if I'd call them my favorite. They're obviously actually very brutal and, you know, sad in a lot of ways. But they are, the reason I would bring those two up is that they are very applicable, and every story of the Bible is important, but they are very applicable and important to modern times and modern America. So that's the answer I would give. That's why I'd probably give. Well, we'll just say Sodom and Gomorrah, I suppose. This is probably the answer I'd give. Like I said, not total Old Testament expert there, but that one is quite relevant. That one is quite relevant. All right, let's see here. Oops. Okay, so is this the end of the... I'm trying to see. We'll get to the last... I think there's one more community question. Yes. Okay. Kian Yi says, would you date someone who got the... I think you know what that says. Or will you only date purebloods? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably only going with option 2. Okay, on YouTube, I'm not gonna say why. I'm just gonna say option 2. Okay, I'm just gonna say option 2. There's a reason why. Maybe you can fill in why that is. But yeah, option 2. All right, so that wraps up the community questions. So we'll just take them all from live chat now. Dollar for $2 says Vince. Can we see your physique? What's your bench? I have not tried to max my bench since high school. I don't know, because when I do lift, I do it for like bodybuilding purposes. So like 8 to 12. Like high school, when I was in football for a little bit, we did like max bench. I think it was back in 9th grade. It was 160 maybe, something somewhere around there. But my physique, we're working on it. I will show it to you when it is chiseled. How about that? Dollar for dollar. Okay. And by the way, I'm not gonna take off my shirt on the stream. That's a bit immodest, but we're working on it. Thank you for the $2. Enclave Nationalist says, Vince, please play Fallout 1. I will at some point, but it's like freaking top down. Like the setup screen hurt my brain already. It already hurt my brain. Okay. Because like when I'm playing a game, especially on stream, I don't want to have to like think a lot. I want to just be something move so I can talk at the same time. So I will do it at some point this year, but I can't exactly tell you when. Wait, there was an Asian in high school football. Well, fun fact, I did the most Asian thing ever. I quit because I had to focus on school, because I had to take like 5 AP classes. That's not a joke. But you know what? I feel like we probably have to address this, because people are like, you're Asian and short. There's no way you ever played football. Oh yeah? Let me prove to you guys that I actually was quite athletic back in my day. If they would have just we would have been state champions. I'm Uncle Rico right now. Okay, I'm Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. We would have been state champions, man. No doubt in my mind. So true.
How would you define a woman? Because you've asked other...
Let me pull up the gram. Let me pull up the gram here. Okay. So we want a browser source. This might take too long. I don't know if this is even gonna work, but let's try it. Okay. People don't. Oh, Asian playing tackle football? No way. You've never seen. People have never seen the way my legs are built. Okay, I was actually quite a good running back. All right, let's see. Sorry, this page is not available. They don't want people to see the truth. Look at that. They don't want people to see the truth. All right, never mind then. If you go down very far on my personal Instagram, not my political one, but my personal Instagram, you can see the receipts. I used to actually be an athlete. Okay? Burgundy Blue for $2 says, Vince, how has your week been? It's been all right. Busy. Probably did not get as much done this week as I wanted to, because I was burnt out by last week, which sucks. But it was all right. Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. How has your guys's week been? Real. It will be nice to have a day off tomorrow. It will be nice. On a Good Friday, we'll give the day to God, give the weekend to God, and then we'll be back Monday. So, real. All right, what time is it? 9:09. Okay, I do have an Easter-related monologue. We'll do it about 9:45 towards the end. I want to close so we can send it off into the weekend, but we will do it. Okay, maybe cornerback is the least Asian position. Why is that the least Asian position? In fact, I feel like I played one of the least Asian positions because cornerback's not physical. They're the little skinny little guys who gotta like, ooh, just tip the ball. But I also can't catch, but just tip the ball. I ran right into the defense. Okay? What can they say? What can they say? I love tomorrow off, if only. Tomorrow should be a national holiday. And, you know, like even at my school, so last year we actually had Good Friday off because I think I remember it overlapped with, I think from what I remember, maybe I just didn't go to class that day, but I think it overlapped with like the end of the semester kind of, sort. You see what I'm saying? Sort of. Yeah, it did. But yeah, this year we don't have it off. And that kind of makes me mad because we take a day off to celebrate Martin Luther King, but none for Jesus Christ. Welcome to, you know, nothing actually, when you really think about it, nothing is more emblematic of modern America than this, is it not? Okay? Martin Luther King gets his holiday, and most people don't even get Good Friday off, the day our Savior was crucified. And obviously Sunday is not part of the work week, so Easter couldn't count. Isn't that it? Oh, but there's Christmas. I guess there's Christmas, but also they just call it Happy Holidays, and a lot of people just get the whole week off because it's the winter holiday season. So not good. You know what? If I had the control, people get mad all they want. If I were Emperor of the United States, someone's going to clip this and get mad. No, I don't care. I would get rid of Martin Luther King Day and give it to Good Friday. Give it to our actual Lord and Savior, not our fake, AstroTurf Lord and Savior of modern America, Martin Luther King, who was a serial adulterer and a communist. So that's what I would do. But if we cared about God in this nation, it would be a national holiday, but no. Well, exactly. But listen, we're going to do it, okay? And also, where are the Republicans on this question? I saw some Republican introduce a bill to make St. Patrick's Day a national holiday, which, okay, fine, whatever. But why is Good Friday not a day off for everyone? I wouldn't replace MLK Day. I like the day off. Well, I'm saying if we have to replace a holiday, I'm getting rid of MLK. I'm giving it to Good Friday, okay? And we'll do the same. We'll do Juneteenth. We'll give that to, I don't know. We'll add an extra day to Christmas. Or, because I'm trying to, so you do like Palm Sunday, but then that's on. We'll give it to some event in the Bible. Okay, we'll figure this out. We'll work all this out. Okay. Zachary Marintet for $5. Thank you very much. Says, sorry I'm late. My mom needed to help me pick up the family sedan, and I got lost on the way home. On the other hand, I donated platelets. What a good guy. Zachary loves humanity and loves the earth. Great guy. We love to see it. It's good to see you. We're doing a 2-hour show tonight because I'm not doing a show on Good Friday. So you're in luck. We still have about 45 minutes to go here. So real and true. Donald Trump Day. One day we will have a Donald Trump Day. Wait and see. One day, because in 10 years, they're going to do George Floyd Day. But then, when we eventually win, we're going to take George Floyd Day. We're going to make it Donald Trump Day. Burgundy Blue for $5, thank you very much, says, what are your favorite memories from the APU conference in New York? I'm asking this because the first time I met you in person was then. I was in the back. I don't know what you look like, Burgundy Blue, or else I might have remembered when and where. My favorite memory from that conference was the fact that we missed our flight. Because Jackson, first of all, let me say this. He drove too slow to the airport, okay? We had like a 7 a.m. flight. And, me, I'm Vinny the Kid, okay? So going down the Florida, turnpike, I don't play. Okay, Vince Dow don't play. But he's like, I'll drive. So I was like, okay. And he's sitting here going like 70, 75, and we're already a little bit late. And, so we show up there, and then his boarding pass wouldn't scan. And so we missed our flight. And it was Memorial Day, and there were no open flights. There are no open flights. Like, it was going to be very hard. I think we were going to be able to get on one at like 11 p.m. that night. And I was like, that's not happening. So I looked at him, and I was like, yo, bro. Like, I was like, what if we just drove to New York right now? I was like, let's do it. So we drove from Orlando, and then we stopped to get my car because my car is faster, better gas. And I actually drive it fast, unlike a certain someone, okay? Mr. 70 miles per hour when we're running late. Boy, if you don't get... But yeah, we did a whole road trip to New York in a day. And it was the Friday before Memorial Day, so there's a lot of traffic too. So in total, the trip took us about 16, 17 hours on the road. We did it in one day because we had to do it in one day. He probably drove like a third of the time. I drove most of it. That was fun. That was probably my favorite memory, was the road trip to and back, That was interesting. We drove up through South Carolina, all that. DC, we passed that. Past DC, it was nighttime, so all I saw was the dark New Jersey Turnpike. Not like there's much to look at there anyway. But yeah, we drove up and down I-95, the whole eastern seaboard, in a day, and then came back in a day. That's an experience I'm going to tell my kids. All because, see, this is the consequence of driving slow, okay? When you drive slow, what happens? You miss your flight, and then we got to drive almost 20 hours to New York. Real. And then I had to drive in New York, which was not fun. But all right. That was definitely my favorite memory. What is my birthday? My birthday is April 19th. So yes, I turned 20 this month. Finally, I'm not enjoying being 19. It's like, can I just be 20? Like, something about being 20 just looks more adult, even though it's a year. So yeah, April 19th, my birthday is indeed this month. So... you want to send me a birthday gift? You can send it in the super chats. Just kidding. Dollar for dollar sends a Fed. That's a Fed post. That's a Fed. I'm not reading that. God created man on the sixth day. True. Now I'm not relating to the other thing. YouTube. Okay, but yes, it is true. God did create man on the sixth day. But thank you for the $2. Dollar for dollar. Burgundy Blue says read Dollar's comment. No, and by the way, I don't like the comparison anyway. Okay, because what am I even supposed to say to that? All right, listen. Let's just chill. All right, all right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm 25. I feel old. Most people probably think I'm 25. How old did you guys think I was when you first saw me? I know I look old. Like, I acknowledge that I look old, and I guess act old, quote unquote, which I had Adobe Premiere open on this computer the entire stream. That is not smart. I should not be streaming while I'm opening an entire editing software. Genius, VinceDao. Genius. That is only something a 19-year-old would do. JD says, I'm 34. I wish I could be 19 again. Hey, if it makes you guys feel any better, tomorrow is my dad's birthday, and he's turning 50. Okay? So to all of you out here, you could be turning 50 tomorrow, which I'm sure we have some over 50s, but I'm just saying, you're 34. You still got some glory days left. You still got some prime days left. My dad turns 50 soon. So, Wait, you're 20? Yes. Well, I'm actually 19, but I turned 20 in 2 weeks. Ish. 13 days? Yeah, 13 days. So, real and true. All right. Let's see. Like, as usual, you can send in a Q&A through the super chats, but let me show some love to our regular chat here. Let's take a few from there. Chesscom Support says, driving slow is based. Safety first. See, that's something a girl would say. It's chest comp support. You're a girl, right? This is not true. This is factually untrue. The safest place to be when you are driving is in an island of your own, okay? So it's to be on your own. When there are other cars around, that is what causes accidents. So the reason I very often drive fast is because I'm trying to get in an island of my own. Now, when I'm able to kind of isolate myself, I will go through all the cars. And then once I isolate myself, I just chill, keep it 80, 85-ish and relax in there. That is the safest place to be on the road. The safest place not to be is sitting around other cars because that's how collisions happen, whatever. I saw a video the other day, and actually, you guys might have seen this video on the news. You know that video where the Kia Soul is passing the truck and then the truck's wheel pops off and the Kia Soul goes flying, flips. You guys seen that video? That's been a pretty viral video nationally. Fun fact, that is right where I grew up. Literally, that video is right by my exit growing up on the freeway. But regardless, okay, for instance, if you drive, see big trucks like that, whether it's big pickup trucks or semi trucks, a lot of times they can literally just lose their wheel like that, and that's what happens. Now, in that case, it was a bit of a freak accident, but that video is a prime example of why you especially should not sit around next to trucks, okay? So people who drive very slow and drive the same pace right next to semi trucks, you cannot stand there and look at me and tell me that me speeding or whatever is less safe than you sitting next to the semi truck, because that thing can swerve. If they're falling asleep, it might literally just go and end you, okay? Whereas when I see a semi truck, I hit the gas as hard as possible and speed right past it, because I don't want to be caught in the proximity near that thing, whatever it is, whether it's wheel runs off, or which happens a lot, or they fall asleep, they merge, the trailer blows over, that's actually how you get killed, okay? Very oftentimes these fast drivers like us are the safer drivers on the road, okay? I've never even gotten into a near accident driving fast. And in fact, all of the worst things, I've never gotten in an accident, but all the close calls I've had driving have always been when I was driving slow or stuck in traffic. So I do my very best to get out of traffic by driving fast and driving fast away from the other pack of cars, okay? So this is not true. It is not true that driving slow is safer. Also, consider the fact that I live in the state of Florida. There's a lot of people who drive fast, okay? Because it's Florida, man, and a lot of times you have the big, lifted trucks that like to drive in the fast lane and get up right behind you and flash you, and and driving slow is a prime way to get rear-ended. Okay, especially in a state like Florida where everyone is driving fast, and especially there's more distracted drivers now because of cell phones. So it's driving slow, lollygagging. Technically, yes, it is legal, but it is a prime way to get yourself rear-ended by someone who is driving fast and is on their cell phone. So the best thing you can do is avoid that. So I stand by my ground on this. I don't believe driving slow is safe. I don't believe slow drivers are safe. And also slow drivers are less efficient. So also, when I'm driving fast and doing the lane change thing, I actually pay attention to the road more because I'm consciously driving. If I'm just sitting in the slow lane on cruise control and just going the same 65 miles per hour like a loser the whole time, you actually lose attention of the road because you're not doing it. You're just staring. When I'm intently going, speedo mode through I actually am paying very close attention, and I'm alert. I'm actively driving. I'm thinking. When I'm just chilling like this, that's actually when I fall asleep and pay less attention. So, and that's the case with most people. So I just disagree. Driving slow is not based. Speed limits do not make the United States safer. The Autobahn is one of the safest roads in the world, and look how fast they drive, right? Safety first. If you want to be safety first, then drive as isolated as possible. Okay. Zachary for $2 says, favorite historical senator, Joseph McCarthy. Easy answer. Can't think of anyone else. Joseph McCarthy, the hero, the man who tried to save our republic, and they hated him for it. They tried to shut him down. Our hero, Joseph McCarthy. We love to see it. Thank you for the $2. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, I'm the number one VinceDao orbiter in the whole chat. Also, you've seen me in real life, so this is true. Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. 100%. 100%. We're at 80 likes. Come on, let's get to 100 likes. I know it's a Q&A stream or whatever, but let's get to 100 likes here. Let's get to 100 likes here, ladies and gentlemen. As we got about 20 more minutes left of questions, I will close with the Easter monologue, and we will call it a night. So this will be fun. I wonder if I can find that video, by the way. I have to prove a point. Okay? Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Media source. Hopefully it doesn't get me age restricted. That's a concern. Maybe I should just not play it. But, you know, this is something my dad taught me, and my dad drives a lot like me. And it was... Actually, I learned how to drive from my dad. So, Dad, you and your Camaro and now Challenger, I mean, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But, okay. Let me see. You know what? It might get us age restricted. But like I said, the video, it's like this big, you know, lifted truck. His wheel comes off. Kia Soul next to him. The Kia Soul literally goes flying in the air, flips on the back of the car, and somehow he's fine. Somehow he didn't even get it. He walked away. I don't know how he's alive. Miracle. Thank God, right? God bless, obviously. But, you know, it's crazy. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, read Ritwit comment. Who is Ritwit? I see him saying fine. Okay, but he's spamming a million times, and then I don't... What are some things you disagree with Ben Shapiro on? Well, everything you listed, we probably disagree, but I respect Ben Shapiro. I like him. I think he's an important figure for the right. But the things you listed, probably, protectionism, immigration. I mean, yeah, we probably would disagree on things like that, but... Blue, don't encourage the spammers. Exactly. You're gonna spam the chat a million times. You know, why should that be encouraged? Okay. Would you like the idea of replacing? That's just funny. That's just funny. Okay, Luke says, as a Prius driving high school student, there is no better feeling than learning to drift in the Prius. Okay, but you still drive a Prius though, bro. Which I'm not hating on. You're in high school. Your parents probably gave you the car. It's fine. I'm not hating on it. Okay, I have a first car too, quote unquote. It's not so. But I'd have to imagine there is a better feeling when you have a cool car. So it's a start, Luke. It's a start. All right, start it from the bottom, and one day you will drive a cool Mustang like a Chad. Very epic. But you don't sound like the Prius drivers I grew up with. The Prius drivers in Los Angeles, the people who think the Chesscom support thinks is safe. Oh, let me go 60 in the left lane in my Prius. No, I'm saving the world. Everyone behind you is like, what are you doing? You are in the left lane. You are going 60. You are driving the speed limit. But I'm saving the earth. See, I wish some of these Prius drivers had to deal... See, there's not a lot of big trucks in Southern California. There is out in, like, Inland Empire, but, like, LA, obviously, there's not a lot of people in the big trucks who do the, fat, you just drive. But the Prius drivers need to experience that so they get out of the left lane. Despicable, Prius drivers are one of the enemies of the state out there. Not Luke. Luke sounds cool, but your average slow left lane 60. I'm gonna go 60 in the left lane with my stupid Prius, and I'm gonna probably drive like this. I drive 10 and 2 and enemies of the state. Burgundy Blue for $2 says Jester is literally a debate bro atheist. I've not been looking at what Jester has been saying in the chat. But this is true, okay? Listen. Prius drivers, with some exceptions. There's a few good ones out there. Luke, he's a noble Prius driver. Anthony Cabasa, he's all right. Okay, my friend informed with Anthony. You still drive a Prius, but it's okay. I pardon you. But the rest of them, enemies of the state. Enemies of the state. Guilty of treason against this country, unironically. Okay? You know, they want to talk about making, we're going to discontinue the Hellcat because the fuel efficiency. We're going to discontinue the Camaro. You know, if there's any one car in the United States that needs to be made illegal, it is not the Mustang, the Challenger. It is your Prius. It is your Prius, okay? When I am king of America, we are banning your gay, stupid cars, okay? It will be illegal to drive a Prius. We're confiscating them, and we are forcing you to buy a non-dumb car. Okay? Okay? No offense to Luke in the Prius. We like Luke. Luke is cool. He says 0 to 60 in 12 seconds. Exactly. But the rest of you... Enemies of the state. So, let's see here. V8s only. Yeah, real. This is the ideal America. We open up all the oil, okay? We get oil out of Alaska. We need to be like the Middle East, like a cheap oil country, and then encourage everyone to buy all the V8s and all the fast cars and all the big trucks and just guzzle gas everywhere. That is my dream America, okay? Climate change, you can't do that. I couldn't hear you. Oh yeah? You want to cash me then in my Corvette. What are you gonna do? You can't have that car. Greta Thunberg. Climate change. We're striking for the climate. Oh yeah? Come take the car then. Oh, you can't catch it. You can't catch it in your gay little Prius, can you? Exactly. This is my ideal America, okay? This is the America that they fear. I'm telling you, if you just open the oil reserves, make this a cheap gas country, like we're just producing oil like that, we're destroying the whole environment, very epic and based, and we and you know, it's just everyone's driving their gas guzzling cars. Just see how much better just things would be, okay? But the environment. Shut up, hippie. You're the one who lives in like big. You guys literally live on top of each other in like New York City pods, and you have a problem with me wanting my Corvette. Yeah, screw you, dude. Try to catch my Hellcat in your Prius. Exactly, so true. I'm coming to get you. Hey, it's the Prius police. It's the ESG police. Pull over the car. In your little Prius. Oh yeah. In the dust. You can't catch 5 stars. Doesn't matter. We escape every time. So true. I need my diesel trucks for hauling too. Exactly. Okay. The big truck fast car alliance. We must unite. Okay. We must unite. I'm not a truck guy. I don't really want a truck. I want a Corvette. That's like my dream car at the moment. But we will unite. We will guzzle gas. We will make Greta Thunberg very mad, okay? We're going on a rally across the United States. When Brandon is out of office, we will do this. Okay? I want to buy a diesel truck, rev the heck out of it, and eat bacon cheeseburger in front of a bunch of vegans. That's the life, right? Look at this king. Look, he gets it. Oh, you're killing animals. Oh, real. Screw your electric car. No one cares. I got my little Prius. Get smoked by this V8. Okay, we're upgrading. We're trying. Is there even such a thing as a V12 engine? We're getting a V12 engine. All right. Okay. Maximum carbon emissions. Let's go. Okay. When we have power, we're gonna give a tax rebate. We'll give it. You know how the California and stuff. I think you get a tax rebate for having an electric car. We're gonna do a reverse. If you have a V8, you're contributing to the United States, and so we are going to give you a tax rebate to drive cool cars. This is what we must do. Okay, this is what we must do. So, all right. 12 more minutes of questions here, and then I will do the Easter monologue. So any last call, closing out the tabs now for super chats. Let us do that. People are fighting Jester in chat. His name is Jester. Come on, he's just the Jester, all right? I don't know what's going on. I want the lowest fuel efficiency possible. So true, Bradley. See, the guys get it. Now, Chesscom support's out here like, oh, you can't drive fast. That's dangerous. Exactly. I can't hear you over my V8. So true. So true. Dollar for Dollar says, keep talking about emissions. Greta will arrest you. Yeah, real. They're gonna... Jerry's Pizza. Can't do it. Okay, I will not eat Jerry's Pizza. Okay, so sure. Thank you for the $2. Dollar for Dollar. Raj Shakar says, hi Vince, I'm an 8th grader. How can I join American Virtue? My best advice would be to DM David Carlson about it. He works, well, he's the executive director. But send him an email if he has a business email. That's probably the best way. What do I hate more, Dungeons and Dragons or Minecraft? Oh, that is a tough question. Do I hate Dungeons and Dragons more or Minecraft? See, on one hand, Dungeons and Dragons is infinitely more nerdy and yeah, my dragon is stronger than your dragon. But at the same time, at least it's social. But you could argue it's also social in a bad way because you just put a bunch of dorks together. They don't form into cool people. So I'll probably go with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm gonna say D&D is worse than Minecraft, and I dislike that more. Because I don't particularly have a strong like burning opposition or hatred for Minecraft. It's just like I don't really like it, and it pissed me off playing it. But like I don't like wake up thinking I can't stand Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons, on the other hand, yeah, losers, complete losers. Man, look at my knight. Not a fan. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, read Kawee's comment. You know, Burgundy Blue, you don't have to bribe on behalf of other people. That's just like, he keeps coercing us into doing this. Thank you for the 2. But, oh, wait, okay, wait. You are here. Okay, so I did answer the question. It is a good question. So... Dungeons and Dragons is awful. I've never even played it. I've just heard people play it. I have heard people play it. I'm like, oh my gosh, you were such a nerd. And I've seen like grown men get so into it and not in a cool way. Like poker, people like, it's not in a cool way. Like people are throwing down like, what did you, yeah, screw you, like flipping the table. And it's more like they just LARPing so hard. You can't do that because that breaks the rule. I had a different card, bro. You are. Jester says mods put me in timeout. Okay, I don't know what happened, Jester. It wasn't me. Okay. Just try to behave in chat. I don't know what you're doing. But you know, I just let's try to get along. Okay, let's just try to get along. Now the thing is about my live chat is that the mods, like I can't give them a set rules the whole time. So sometimes it's just their discernment, you know. But so I don't know what happened, Jester. I don't know what's been going on, but hopefully we can all get along. Where do you get all your information on your topics? I would love to do what you do in my native language. Do you want the honest answer? Or do you want the most of my stories for my show, like when I'm trying to find a story, most of the time I get it from Twitter. I just kind of like, that's kind of how I do the show. I scroll Twitter, I see what the news is, I see what the interesting news is, I see what people are talking about in conservative circles, and then I pick stories there. Arguments, I mean, I can't really tell you one place. A lot of times it's just I look at something and I tell what I think about it, or sometimes I hear arguments from other people that I think are good, but there's not really one place. You kind of just have to discern what you think for yourself, But information, literally, I just find it on Twitter. And then, obviously make sure it's a real story, but it's actually the most efficient way to find topics. That's why it's an important news site. What's the fake answer? The fake answer, I go to Revolver News or something. I don't know, something, But I don't. The truth of the matter is, when I'm picking out the stories for the show, I just go on Twitter. I see what's trending. I see what people are talking about. Obviously, I make sure it's a real story, But like, that's usually where because by seeing what's trending and what other conservatives are talking about, you also know what's going to be interesting that night. You know what I mean? Do you think faith is a distraction as sports are a distraction, and why? No, faith is not a distraction. Faith is everything. I mean, like I don't know what like the angle you're trying to take there, but faith is everything. Faith is the most important thing. So I wouldn't say it's a distracting. I would say other things that distract from your faith are the distractions. I don't think faith itself is the distraction. I think faith itself is your entire purpose on this earth, or it's the root of your entire purpose on this earth. So Jester said their discern was trying to censor an atheist. I'm not upset, just trying to understand. Okay, well, I'll say that. Okay, mods, I don't know what he was doing, but if he's like genuinely good faith, whatever, trying to debate, then let him do it, because we're not going to change people's minds by just censoring them in the chat, right? But just try to be respectful is all I'm gonna say. I don't know. That's what they did. Okay, Burgundy Blue for $5 says, do you think you've surpassed John Doyle in terms of popularity? It seems like early on you reacted to his content a lot. That's how I found you. So I don't see it as a competition. And I mean that genuinely. I don't. Sometimes professionally, in the back of my head, I'll look at what other people are doing, but I don't view it as like this like contest or battle to do this or that. I still think John Doyle is the king of his sort of sphere he's created or whatever, right? And obviously he gets way more views and stuff than me. So I wouldn't say that. I do think that because of like Daily Wire and all that stuff, I probably have a different audience than him, which is good. Overall different audience. Obviously there's overlap, but it's like my audience is not all just his audience, at least anymore. Maybe for a time it was kind of like that, but like, so like I said, it's not a competition. I think we're both trying to do similar but also different things in this sphere, right? I'm trying to do the nightly news thing, push out a lot of content. He's the 5-hour dissertation type of guy. So I think we reach different audiences. I think our content is meant for different audiences. But I don't think it's a competition. I mean, his audience is still much larger than ours, subscriber wise, all that stuff. So I don't know if I would say that, but I think I have a different audience, right? Slightly, because there's probably more Daily Wire fans that watch me than John Doyle, right? So I think they're different audiences, but I don't think it's a competition. Jonathan Fields for $2 says, Vince, thank you for making videos. God bless you. God bless you too, Jonathan Fields. I appreciate it. And all right, it's about 9:45 here, so I will in a minute give you the final Easter message, and then we will go into a long weekend. Wow, I needed a day off. Let's go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, which, by the way, any last super chats you want to send, I'll check them before we officially end the show here. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, Here we go, and I'm going to clip this so it'll be a video probably out tomorrow too. All right, let's do this. So we close the show tonight on the eve of Good Friday. It is obviously the Easter weekend coming up. It's an important time for Christians all around the world. Yet simultaneously, and I'm sure you look around today and see an American society that is godless, depraved, and degenerate. And a lot of people are obviously concerned, like you and I, about the future of our society itself. Babies are being murdered in mass. Children are being sexualized. They're being given dangerous drugs and hormones in many different ways. People are killing each other in the streets. And many would say this, Americans seem to have forgotten the very values that once held us together. No conservative would disagree with that last sentence. But my sort of closing message here as we go into the weekend is that, do you ever notice that when we are asked to define the values that once held us together, most conservatives will reply with a very narrow answer, which is the Constitution. How many times have you heard this? Well, we need to get back to the values espoused in the U.S. Constitution. We love the Constitution. Now, don't get me wrong, the U.S. Constitution is an important document that is deserving of respect. But if you actually sit down and read it, it's not a whole-scale prescription of morality and society. It's a handbook of rules for the federal government. You could argue there's a degree of genius in the Constitution, but it's not a document that gives an extensive framework for morality. It doesn't teach values to anyone. It doesn't tell anyone what is truly right or wrong. It simply gives rules for the federal government, right? Point being, when I look at videos of thugs beating up old ladies in New York City, pushing people into subways, I don't look around and think, oh, well, if only they knew about the Constitution. That's a little bit silly. Perhaps the Constitution is a valid thing to bring up when liberals want to implement certain social programs or whatever that violate the Constitution. But whole scale, I do not think that just simply forgottance of the Constitution is the only reason why our society and Americans seem to have lost all sense of normalcy and morality. So why is modern American society so depraved and just lacking of unity and morality and all these things? There's a number of reasons, but we absolutely cannot ignore the impact that secularism and the forgottance of God have had on our society, and the correlation between that and the downfall of American civilization. When we discuss American values and how we seem to have forgotten them, we must recognize this fact of our own history. America is a nation built on Christian moral foundations. America, not just as a government, right? Because you can say, oh, but the First Amendment. I'm not just talking about a government. I'm talking about a people, a culture, a society, a heritage is built on Christianity. We have been a historically Christian nation. This is not to say that everyone in the history of America or today has always been Christian, nor am I saying that you have to be Christian to be an American. It's to recognize that Americans' historic values, when we talk about American values, such things have grown out of Christianity. The social norms, the values, the customs we practice, all have been shaped by Christians and Christian moral foundations. As founding fathers John Adams said, our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other, end quote. And if we properly understand that America is a nation built on Christianity, then the inevitable consequences of abandoning as a civilization our founding religion, our founding faith, become quite clear. If civilization abandons the foundations it was built upon, then civilization dies. There is no exception here. And you look around in America today, we would all agree what you see are the symptoms of a dying society. Godlessness manifests itself in the United States in a number of different ways. And obviously, there's the obvious things, right? Just the downright evil and depravity you see in a lot of society, your violent murderers, societally endorsed pedophilia, Satanism at the Grammys in Hollywood, all that stuff, etc., etc. We know all of this. We understand this. It's not hard to detect or pick up on. But the effects of godlessness, in my opinion, in America today go far beyond that. because whole scale, America has replaced its worship of Jesus Christ with worship of the self. And as a consequence, people have grown, you might notice this, incapable of serving something beyond themselves. People cannot even visualize or conceptualize any greater moral purpose than their own self-interest. This is how we have ended up in a culture of me, 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 which you may, hey, why is American culture these days all about me, me, me? That does boil down to godlessness. A culture of selfish, self-centered people who cannot think beyond themselves, who cannot think of a moral purpose beyond themselves, do not treat each other with moral decency. A culture of hedonistic drones who are addicted to their vices, but have very little interest in raising families, building communities, or fulfilling any moral duty beyond themselves, again, is the product of godlessness. When you are unable to recognize something greater than yourself, it is very hard to live a life that reflects anything beyond yourself. And you know the famous old saying, right? Society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know they will not sit in. Because we have no understanding of anything beyond me, me, me in American society, this is impossible, which is why you have a society full of selfish people. A godless culture, furthermore, is not just a selfish and hedonistic culture, which it is also a depressed culture. It is the reason why young men are committing suicide in such high amounts, because they feel very little drive or moral purpose to serve anything beyond themselves. They do not know the meaning of life. No one is giving them answers to that meaning. A godless people are a weak and cowardly people. It goes on and on and on. The sheer fact of the matter is that in some way or another, every problem that modern America faces could, in one way or another, be solved if Americans en masse began to once again recognize and profess and believe in the faith of their forefathers. And this is the reason why, as conservatives, our political enemies are so hostile towards Christianity. They do not demonize or blacklist or seek to destroy the religion, any other religion in pop culture. They do not wage countless religious freedom lawsuits, quote unquote, to take any other religion out of public life. They do not excuse hate crimes against any other religion. It is Christianity and Christianity alone that these people have waged a century-long war against. Why? Because they know that America rediscovering her founding faith, among other things, is the pathway to restoring order and, conservatism and patriotism in our country. It is the key in the lock, right, of pushing back against the advance of the left. The Marxists have long realized this, which is why they've long realized that Christianity is their greatest obstacle, which is why they've spent so many years in the West, in America, in Europe, everywhere, trying to erase Christianity. In response, on this Easter weekend, I pray for our country. I pray for a revival of faith in our country. And I pray that we once again become a country where the majority of people, at the very least, do believe in Christ and do follow him seriously. And the way I see it, yes, perhaps there are ways to restore certain values without restoring Christianity, perhaps on an individual level. But whole scale in society, I firmly do believe that, in terms of the masses, unless the American people, once again, recognize the Lord and Savior that most of their forefathers once believed in, it's going to be very hard to restore or, truly make America great again. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a solemn Good Friday, a blessed Easter, and a great weekend. That wraps up the show tonight. I will check for any last super chats, and then we will call it a night here, ladies and gentlemen. So, appreciate it. We got clapping black hands. Thank you, dollar for dollar. Thank you very much, my African-American over there. Thank you. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, VinceDao John Doyle boxing match when? John Doyle probably has like 30, 40 pounds on me, okay? Thank you for the $2, Burgundy Blue. All right, good speech for the ending. So true. We're going into the weekend on a good note. Are we not? All right. Let's see here. Any last comments, questions, super chats. I'll stick around for like 2 minutes and then we'll end the stream here. So, real and true. You can know that the supernatural exists because God exists. Correct. Correct. Very true. Let's see. Let me check it. Any last things here in the chat? It's a lot of just people saying they like the monologue. I'm trying to see if we have any interesting last things here. Would you consider creating a Discord server for the friends of your show? We have a Discord server. It is part of the tier 2 membership. It is still, because the person who helped me set up the Discord server then just like abandoned me. Okay. You know who you are. I'm trying to, so we're working on trying to like make it engaging and actually fun to be in. But the tier 2 membership, which by the way, since I have time this weekend, I'm going to make some membership videos. I know we have been severely lacking in those. I am sorry about that. Starting the show, it's been very stressful. Okay. But I'll catch up on member content, but yeah, tier 2 membership, we do have a Discord server. So link is in the description to join that. Burgundy Blue for $2 says, what do you got planned for Monday? You're going to have to find out on Monday. I have no idea. It depends on what news breaks over the weekend. So we will have to see. We will have to see. Jesus Christ is the Lord. So true. Jesus is risen. King of Kings. So true. So true. Many in heaven are saying this. All in heaven are saying this. So true. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, that will wrap up the show tonight. Be sure to leave a like on the stream before you go. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. We will return Monday. Again, no show tomorrow for Good Friday. So everyone have a blessed Easter weekend. I will see you guys on Monday. And until then, leave a like on the stream. Oh, wait. One last super chat. Burgundy Blue says, be like me. Be a tier 2 VinceDao simp. So true. All right. Thank you very much for watching. Have a very good night. Alpha moves only. God bless. Have a blessed Easter and peace.